Scenario: a Canadian healthcare provider wants to use patient data to conduct research on treatment outcomes. Under the Personal Information Protection and Electronic Documents Act, PIPEDA, what must the provider ensure to legally use this data for research? A. Obtain express consent from each patient before using the data. B. Ensure that all patient data is anonymized before it is used for research. C. Only use data that has been made publicly available by the patients. D. Create a detailed data use policy that is reviewed annually. Correct answer: B. Ensure that all patient data is anonymized before it is used for research. Reasoning: PIPEDA allows the use of personal information for research purposes without consent if the information is anonymized, preventing any possibility of identifying the individuals involved. This allows research to be conducted while still protecting patient privacy. Scenario: a Canadian retail company plans to use customer purchase data to enhance targeted marketing efforts. Under Canada's anti-spam legislation, CASL, what key requirement must be met to send electronic marketing messages based on this data? A. Ensure that all marketing messages include an opt-out mechanism. B. Obtain implied consent since the customers have a business relationship with the company. C. Send messages only to customers who have expressly opted into receiving marketing communications. D. Use data exclusively from customers who have made a purchase in the last 6 months. Correct answer: C. Send messages only to customers who have expressly opted into receiving marketing communications. Reasoning: CASL requires express consent for sending most types of electronic marketing messages, ensuring that recipients have actively agreed to receive such communications. This is part of CASL's strict regulations aimed at protecting consumers from spam and related threats. Scenario: a Canadian financial institution uses an AI system to assess creditworthiness based on users' transaction histories and social media activities. Considering the guidelines set by the Office of the Privacy Commissioner of Canada, OPC, what transparency measures should the institution implement? A. Publish a general privacy policy that covers the potential use of AI without specific details. B. Inform users clearly about the AI's role in decision-making and the type of data it analyzes. C. Assume user consent for AI analysis if they continue to use their accounts after a privacy policy update. D. Only disclose AI involvement upon specific request from the user. Correct answer: B. Inform users clearly about the AI's role in decision-making and the type of data it analyzes. Reasoning: the OPC emphasizes transparency and user awareness, particularly when AI is used in decision-making processes. Institutions must clearly inform users how their personal information is used in AI systems, including the specifics of the data involved and the implications of its analysis. Scenario: a Canadian online platform collects children's data for creating personalized educational content. What specific steps must be taken to comply with Canada's privacy laws regarding the collection of data from children? A. Obtain consent from a parent or guardian before collecting, using, or disclosing the data. B. Ensure all content is educational, thereby exempting the platform from certain consent requirements. C. Allow children to provide their own consent if they appear to understand the implications. D. Collect only minimal data sufficient to provide educational benefits. Correct answer: A. Obtain consent from a parent or guardian before collecting, using, or disclosing the data. Reasoning: when dealing with children's personal information, Canadian privacy laws require that consent must be obtained from a parent or guardian if the child is under the age of majority. This ensures that the guardian is aware of the data collection and its purpose. Scenario: a Canadian telecommunications company wishes to disclose subscriber information to a third party for marketing purposes. Under PIPEDA, what is required before this information can be shared? A. Automatically include subscribers in third-party marketing but provide a detailed opt-out mechanism. B. Obtain express consent from subscribers specifically for the disclosure of their information to third parties. C. Provide an annual disclosure statement to all subscribers outlining potential third-party data sharing. D. Ensure the third party is also PIPEDA compliant before any data transfer. Correct answer: B. Obtain express consent from subscribers specifically for the disclosure of their information to third parties. Reasoning: PIPEDA mandates that personal information can only be used or disclosed for purposes for which the individual has consented. When sharing subscriber information with third parties for marketing, express consent is required, ensuring that subscribers are explicitly aware and agreeable to such arrangements. Scenario: a Canadian employer uses biometric data, fingerprint scanning, for employee time tracking. Given privacy concerns under PIPEDA, what should the employer ensure? A. Only use biometric data with express consent from employees. B. Store all biometric data indefinitely as part of employee records. C. Use less invasive tracking methods unless biometric data is absolutely necessary. D. Implement biometric data collection for all employees without exception to maintain consistency. Correct answer: C. Use less invasive tracking methods unless biometric data is absolutely necessary. Reasoning: under PIPEDA, organizations should implement the least invasive means of achieving their purposes. Employers should consider whether less invasive alternatives to biometric data collection exist and are practicable before deciding to collect such sensitive information. Scenario: a Canadian law firm stores sensitive client information in electronic form. With increasing cyber threats, what is a key requirement under PIPEDA for safeguarding this information? A. Encrypt all electronic records and implement regular security audits. B. Store only paper records to avoid cyber risks. C. Limit access to sensitive information to senior partners only. D. Require two-factor authentication for all client-related communications. Correct answer: A. Encrypt all electronic records and implement regular security audits. Reasoning: PIPEDA requires organizations to protect personal information using appropriate security measures against risks such as loss or theft, as well as unauthorized access, disclosure, copying, use, or modification. Encryption and regular audits are effective ways to safeguard sensitive information. Scenario: a Canadian non-profit organization collects donations online and gathers donor information, including contact details and donation amounts. To comply with PIPEDA's accountability principle, what action should the organization take? A. Only accept anonymous donations. B. Appoint a privacy officer to oversee the management of personal information. C. Provide tax receipts to donors as the sole documentation of the transaction. D. Use a third-party service to manage donor information without direct oversight. Correct answer: B. Appoint a privacy officer to oversee the management of personal information. Reasoning: under PIPEDA, organizations are required to be accountable for the personal information they hold. This includes appointing a privacy officer or a similar role to ensure compliance with privacy laws and to manage privacy issues effectively. Scenario: a Canadian digital health app collects user data for health monitoring and shares anonymized data with research institutions. Under Canada's privacy laws, what additional privacy considerations should be addressed to enhance user trust and compliance? A. Ensure all data is collected passively without user interaction. B. Allow users to opt out of data sharing with research institutions, even if the data is anonymized. C. Provide financial incentives for users who agree to data sharing. D. Require users to opt in for each separate research project that uses their data. Correct answer: B. Allow users to opt out of data sharing with research institutions, even if the data is anonymized. Reasoning: allowing users to opt out of data sharing, even when the data is anonymized, respects their privacy preferences and enhances trust. This approach aligns with best practices for privacy management by giving users control over their information, even in its anonymized form.